Hi everybody, welcome back to Life's Blessings Homestead. I'm Kelly, this is Mason. We're going to be doing this video today all about gardening and our experiences with gardening, what we want to do this year, what we're going to do in years after this, and what we've done in the past. Sorry, you're probably going to hear the goat. Lily is a house goat right now. If you haven't seen our previous videos kind of explaining why she's a house goat, go back and watch. So anyway, today we're going to talk about our garden. And just to kind of give you a rundown of where we've been in the past, we have had gardens in the past. I grew up, my father had a green thumb, and we always had gardens when I was little. And we always had like garden fresh tomatoes. We'd eat out of the garden. We'd be out. Mom would find us eating green beans, sitting in the middle of the garden. Usually if we were missing, that's where we were. And like, I just always remember having a garden. And I know we didn't have one every single year, but we had lots of good gardens. And like I said, Mom did good in the garden too, but my dad just had a special green thumb. He could grow anything, and if he had a house plant that was on death's door, like, he'd take it home. I remember I worked in an office and they had a bunch of house plants that were dying, and he took them all home, and within a few months they were forests of green. So he just has always been really good at growing stuff, always was. And he taught me to just absolutely love tomatoes, and there's nothing that beats a garden fresh tomato. I don't care how many store-bought tomatoes you eat, nothing ever beats a garden fresh tomato. So that was my childhood. And then I went away to college, and in the summers, there were a couple summers that I lived somewhere and I was able to garden, and I had a couple of really nice gardens. And then I finished college. I went to graduate school, finished college, and after that, for a long time, it was just too busy, but we did try to do a couple of gardens. And the house that we had, there was blight in the soil, so our tomatoes just never produced like we wanted to. I mean, we'd grow nice green plants, but the tomatoes would be nasty and have blossom end rot and blight and all kinds of problems. And we grew some other stuff. We had some zucchini and things like that, but it was never just a really happy garden. But we also didn't have time. Matt was working like until dark every night in the summer, and I'd work until 5 or 6, but my drive was an hour and a half home. So by the time I got home, it was too late. So to weed a garden, and I worked every other Saturday, sometimes every Saturday. So to weed a garden and just do the upkeep that gardens need, we just didn't have time. So our gardens went largely neglected, and we never really harvested anything to preserve. And then our last year living in our old house, we did an aquaponics garden on our back deck. Now that one went quite well. We had nice big green luscious plants. We had lots of veggies. Yep. We had lots of stuff. So we did get some, but we still didn't have enough to harvest, and we didn't really we didn't keep up with that even quite like we should have because we were busy, and there was a lot of just life stressors that throughout time we'll talk about. But so then we moved, and we went somewhere for 6 months, and it was cold and it was winter, and we just realized, like, we don't want to be somewhere that has super cold winters and a short growing season, so we moved again. And we went to somewhere we were in the high desert, and we had our first garden there. We bought 3 acres, and that 3 acres was high desert. It was not a developed piece of land, and we're like, hey, we'll just haul in water, we'll build an off-grid home, we'll do all these things. Well, we found out in that area, the regulations are so strict and the costs are so high, and many of you might be able to figure that out, but they're so high that that wasn't going to work for us. But before we figured that out, we did do a garden there, and we thought, okay, we'll haul in water and we'll do all this to water our garden. Yeah, well, when you have a whole summer that starts from Memorial Day and goes until about the end of September, and you don't have a day that's under 90, you need a lot of water. and we just were not able to haul in the amount of water we needed. And we were living about 15 minutes from that piece of property, so we weren't just there to like go out and water whenever we felt like it. And you know, a lot of your plants say full sun. Great. But when full sun means 115 degrees, there are a lot of plants that just don't like 115 degrees. So that garden, I think we harvested, it was a big garden. It was like 30 by 30. We harvested a bunch of little tiny grape tomatoes, or cherry tomatoes. Even off plants that were supposed to be full-size tomatoes, we harvested cherry tomatoes because none of them got bigger than this. Mason loved them. They were good. They had flavor. Like, they were wonderful tomatoes. But we harvested that. We got a couple of cucumbers. I think of the, like, maybe 10 or 15 cucumbers we got, one was not bitter. The rest tasted like poison. We had a couple tiny little squash that we picked early because they were just not growing any bigger. But I think that was maybe 2 zucchini. And we had a watermelon and a pumpkin growing, but before they even got very big, and they weren't growing, they weren't getting bigger, and before they got any bigger, something came and ate them, I think birds, and we just didn't, once things were just not going well, there wasn't really a lot of effort put into covering things and stuff like that because nothing was growing. We did have a house we were renting that, like I said, was a little bit away, and I had a tiny garden there, and I harvested a couple of beans from there. They were dry beans, and I did try to put them in a can, and then they molded. So obviously they weren't dry enough. I should have left them out longer to let them dry. Lessons learned. And hey, at least it was a lesson learned with a little tiny bit of produce instead of a lot. But so needless to say, that garden was awful. And there were a lot of things going on that made us just talk about moving and maybe leaving again, and kind of trying to find that spot where we just felt like, I don't want to say home, because home will always be to me where I grew up, at least one of my homes. But I wanted a different spot, and I didn't want to go back to where I grew up because it's got long, cold winters, and I just, as a 38-year-old adult that kind of has this chance to pick where she settles down, long, cold winters just don't appeal to me. I mean, there's snow on the ground here right now, and this isn't a spot that usually has a ton of snow. We're getting ice storms, we're getting snow, but it's not going to be anything like where we grew up. So this is just, and it's got a longer growing season. So anyway, with that being said, that leads us into this year. Now, this year, we have lots of seeds. I am going to show you, the seeds. I'm not going to go through each one of them right now. We'll get there. But we've got this coffee cup with a bunch. Hold on. We've got this box with a bunch. And I've got this little box that has, quite a few. So here's the story on the seeds. This is 2021. Obviously, unless you've lived under a rock or something, that 2020 was the year of COVID. And unless you're really living in the city and not paying attention to how things go, there were a couple of things that were hard to get last year. Toilet paper being one of them, and that one, no matter where you lived, Number 2 was seeds. People were panic buying seeds. People were gardening for the first time and just going crazy. And so everybody's like, oh, you're not going to be able to get seeds. You're not going to be able to get seeds. The other thing was canning supplies, and the other after that was chickens. So I am kind of thinking about 2021 and knowing that we were moving, knowing that we wanted a garden, knowing that some seeds might be hard to get, kind of having in my mind exactly what I wanted to do, and having done a lot of research, watched a lot of YouTube videos. I follow Living Traditions Homestead and Kevin and Sarah, and I watch Roots and Refuge and Jess and Maya. So I have these varieties in my mind of things that I just really, really wanted to grow. And I convinced Matt that we should get our seeds started and start ordering them early to make sure we didn't run into this area where like right now, if you try to order seeds, there's a 4-week wait. Well, I ordered them back in like December, September, October, November, December, those times, and we didn't have that wait. So like anything I ordered, yes, I had to do a little bit of like looking and picking, and if there was a variety, let's say Cherokee Purple Tomato, one seed company didn't have it, then I'd have to look for a seed company that did. But I was able to find pretty much everything I wanted except for Kajari melon. But I did find some other melons that, you know, I've never had a Kajari melon. I just saw Jess grow it, and other people have talked about it. But I was able to find other melons, and, you know, maybe next year we'll find Kajari, or, you know, in a couple of years. But anyway, so basically I went on and I did that. But the other thing is, Matt told me that I can't spend a ton of money on my seeds. Like, it's not that he doesn't want me to, it's just he wants me to start learning to be more frugal, because I'm a plastic person. I've always been a plastic. Oh, we'll just charge it. And that is what we're trying to get away from. That is what we have gotten away from. We are living on his income only, so I can stay home with the kids. So changes need to be made, and I need to learn restraint. Restraint is a word that I would have to look up in the dictionary. I'm bad about that. So in doing that, I had to find companies and look for companies that maybe had better pricing than some of the companies I'd used in the past. I'm a big fan of Baker Creek. I love Baker Creek seeds. That's all I used last year, and I had a very expensive seed order, and that's part of why Matt said we needed to look for some less expensive ones too. We had a ton of seeds, and we're back again. So we're going to kind of wrap this up. No, I don't want to say super quick, but we're going to talk about like what we've got as far as seeds go. And like I was trying to say, we got cut off because Mason's storage, again, this video is long and taken up as storage. We just aren't going to have a huge garden this year because right now we're renting. It's a temporary arrangement while our off-grid place we bought a cabin. It's just a little 12 by 32, and it's being moved onto our property. So it's supposed to be moved tonight. We had to wait for it to be cold enough that the ground was frozen so it could be moved and not go through like muddy, nasty mess. So hopefully that'll happen tonight / tomorrow morning. And then we've got some fixing up and stuff to do to get it ready and put a fireplace in and that kind of stuff. So anyway, I mean, this is now February, and our garden season is kind of starting because there are things like our onions need to go in, and we'll be doing a video about that, probably the next video. They need to start getting ready, you know, not to go in the ground, but anything that's indoors, we're going to be starting here real soon. And outdoor for the cold crops will be starting fairly soon. So we just don't have the time, probably this year, to have everything ready. In the finances, because we got the property, we moved the cabin, we're paying to move the cabin, we bought the cabin, and we bought goats, and there's just other stuff that like is taking money, and plus we have to feed the goats, we feed our dog, you know, feed ourselves. So gardening, especially your first year on a new property that's never had gardening done on it, like we need to bring in soil, amend the soil, do all that good stuff. And we don't necessarily have to, but our soil is pretty rocky out there. And we just want to start with as biggest chance for success as possible, because we don't want to waste money on the seeds by planting in an area that would just not be good. So we're just going to have a small garden this year. Plus, it's our first year gardening in this state, in this climate, in this zone, with this kind of rain. So we need to learn, and we need to learn slowly rather than trying to do this big, you know, 30 by 50 garden or whatever it would be. We just kind of have to learn restraint. So we're not going to plant everything, but I will go over everything I have, and then later on, as we decide what we're going to plant, we'll do another video about what we're doing. So first, I have organized my stuff. We do have onions, and I'm not going to go over my specific onion varieties today, but I will say we have onions, and we have a few varieties. I'll hold that there for a minute. Next video, when we do plant onions, I'll go over specific onion varieties, but we do have some onions to plant. And they're the first thing for us to kind of get started, so that's why I'll just wait. Now this box is my herb box, and I will go over what we've got here. We have sage. We have oregano. More sage, because that packet was low. We have lavender. Yep.
That's the black licorice.
That is actually, that's jumbo burdock. That's not the licorice one. This one, we have anise hyssop, and we have yarrow, and hold on, marshmallow,
Wait, that's what it smells like.
comfrey, garlic chives, valerian, lemongrass, Italian giant parsley, thyme, peppermint, spearmint, tarragon, lavage, I guess that's out, spotted bee balm, catnip, yep, lemon balm, rosemary. That's one. Anise, which smells like black licorice right in there and has a licorice flavor for anybody who may not know.
I don't like black licorice.
Cinnamon basil.
I like red licorice and not black licorice. Wait, does this actually smell like marshmallow?
Purple ruffle basil. Nope. Cilantro. Cumin, which smells like chili powder. Borage. Sweet marjoram.
That's good.
Parsley. I know I'm going too fast, but later on we'll go through this way slower. Dill. Italian basil. German chamomile. I have 2 packs of those seeds. Cilantro. It's Long Island dill and marigolds. Lime basil. Dark opal basil. More marigolds. More borage. I ordered that and then forgot I ordered it and ordered it again.
Good.
Dandelions. I know who plants dandelions, but I didn't know for sure if we just get them naturally, so I ordered seeds. 4 packs of those. So those are the herbs
Here you go.
that we have. And I've kind of separated them into annual herbs and perennial herbs because if anything, I think I might plant, except I might have just mixed them up. I might plant more of my annual herbs in like pots this year, and then my perennials wait until next year. So when we've been on the property for a little bit, I know, like, I kind of know where I want to do things and where we're going to put things, like chicken coops and stuff like that. So this container, my coffee can that I'm repurposing, is all our cold weather crops, stuff that's going to kind of do better out early. And I did find some seeds that I'd had back before for years ago, so some of them I'll try from like Sustainable Seed Company. They're another one I used before. Oh, and Siskiyou Seeds I ordered from last year. So we have, because it's in a coffee can, we have peas, which you can't see there, but we have Thomas Langston peas.
And some strawberries.
Yep, we have some strawberries. We have carrots, and I have several packs of carrots.
I love carrots.
Mason loves carrots. We have cabbage from 2 different companies. One of these is Fairy Morse, so I probably bought those at like Walmart or Home Depot. Spinach. Turnips. Radishes. Bib lettuce.
What is this?
More carrots. I have lots of packs of carrots.
This is easy to grow.
This is a little free seed starter kit that we got of lettuce.
It's easy to grow.
We love the surprise seed packets from different companies. These are some peas, more radishes, more peas. Rhubarb. Mason wants some rhubarb planted, so we'll try some rhubarb.
Are we going to tell what that we are like? We're all going to have a good time.
Yep. Spinach. Calendula. Garden huckleberries. We grew these last year, and we were not huge fans, but we'll try them again because last year's garden didn't turn out so well, so who knows. More rhubarb because, again, I ordered some and then forgot. Asparagus that will start from seed and get planted. Brussels sprouts. Lettuce. Kale. Oh, one of our free seed packs from Baker Creek. More kale. Arugula. And with the kale, like, I wasn't even going to plant kale, except that we got the free one from Baker Creek, so then I ordered another one from a different company so we could have more kale.
This is a red beet.
Red beets, turnips, carrots.
What type of red beet, though?
More beets. 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 I love beets. I love pickled beets. Matt hates beets. He doesn't like pickled beets, but he will eat roasted beets. He's still not a huge fan, but he'll eat them.
I don't know, I eat beets.
Yes, Mason, you like eat beets. Mason will eat anything. Rutabaga, because we love rutabaga. We cut it up, put it with potatoes, carrots, onions, and wrap it in tin foil and throw it on the grill with a ton of butter in it. So good. That's why I have weight issues. Broccoli. Radishes. More rutabaga, because we love it. This is another pack of radishes that was just laying around from before. More rutabaga, turnips, carrots, cauliflower, beets, okra. Never had okra, never tried okra. I see Kevin and Sarah plant okra. I see Jess plant okra. So I said, hey, let's try some okra. So we're going to try some okra. Oh, no, that's artichoke, bud. The green globe artichoke. Something else I don't eat a lot of, but my friends from church back in our last area had artichokes growing in their yard, and they were great. So I ordered them, and then we decided to move, and I'm reading that where we're at now, artichokes are kind of like iffy to be perennials. You can grow them as annuals, but perennials maybe not. But I've got some things in mind that maybe we can, because this climate here isn't that different from where we were before. The lows get maybe a little lower, but it's pretty close. And it's technically a longer growing season, so I don't know. And this is my like full-on summer warm weather crop. So we have jewel nasturtiums, flowers.
They look cool.
The edible flower mix.
Ooh, edible?
Yep, we'll be able to eat those. Maybe, I don't know.
I like these seeds. They look
cool. Couple different types of sunflowers.
These seeds look cool.
Coneflower / echinacea. Got 4 packs of those.
This is some cool.
Another free seed packet. Wildflower, cool coneflower scatter garden. Yeah. More nasturtiums. This is another wildflower righteous red scatter garden. A beneficial insect scatter garden.
Beans. I remember growing
another edible. Yes. And we'll do beans. We'll do beans, kind of. Peppers. This is all my different varieties of peppers, and I'll probably do a video kind of dedicated to that, so I'm not going to go into each one that we do, but we do have several different varieties.
Peppers.
1, 2,
those dried
3,
peppers
4,
were really
5,
hot. Those tiny
6, 7, 8, 9. Like 9 varieties of peppers.
Remember those tiny dried peppers? Like all mushy dried peppers that were really hot?
All our different squashes. We have zucchini. We have winter spaghetti squash. We have more spaghetti squash. We have, that's acorn squash. Delicata, which I've never grown, but I see a lot of people doing.
These are your summer crops.
Yep.
But why was the squash called?
We'll talk about that later. Butternut squash. We have pumpkins for pumpkin pie. We have 8-ball zucchini. We have black beauty zucchini. We have another type of zucchini. Early prolific straight neck. We have crook neck. We have scallop yellow bush squash. I've never grown those, but they're cute and tiny, and I thought the kids would like them. More butternut. Then we have yellow corn. We have glass gem corn. I wanted a good popping corn, and I wanted a good flower corn.
Is that popcorn?
We have Mandan bride corn. Look how pretty that is. Like,
it looks cool.
Okay.
Ooh, there's a blue version.
Cucumbers. Again, we have a pickling cucumber. We have Chicago. We have early Russian, right? Just a slicer. Another slicer, the straight 8. Then we have Mexican sour gherkins, cucamelons from Baker Creek.
Cucumber?
We have crystal apple cucumbers because they're little and cute, and I thought the kids would like them. We have lemon cukes because my friends had them in their garden, and they were delicious and not nasty and bitter, so we got those. And I love cucumbers, too. Cucumbers covered in salt, so, you know, that's good for my blood pressure, right?
Didn't we, always have them for a snack? I remember.
We ate lots of them for snack, yep. I saved seeds from, I believe, I think it's a squash. I don't know.
It's just
more sweet corn. Our melons. I feel like I'm missing a cucumber because I thought I had a Boston pickling cucumber, not just a Chicago, but maybe I didn't actually buy it. These rich sweet melon to fill my Kahari melon slot. These little cute mango melons. We have tiger melons or Tigger, I don't know, like
Tigger.
Yeah. We have Alibaba big watermelons. Where are our other melons? Because I know. We have, there's my Boston pickling cucumber. I knew I had it.
Oh yeah, that's the one that fell out.
Oh, and there's seeds falling in there. Another straight 8 cucumber.
Can we eat it?
Cantaloupe. No, you can't eat seeds. Cantaloupe. I'm not a big fan of, that's upside down. I'm not a big fan of cantaloupe, but I hope my kids will eat it because it's good for them and, you know.
Yeah, I like cantaloupe.
So that's that.
I like cantaloupe. I've had it before.
Beans. Now, this was a big one. Matt really wants a lot of beans for drying because dried beans store well and they provide a lot of nutrients. And if you only ever had meat and potatoes or meat and beans, you'd be pretty good. So we have Mayflower beans from M.I. Gardner. I grew these last year and I thought they were so awesome. I didn't get a ton of them, but Tiger's Eye beans. So I have a couple packs of those. I actually have
I want to eat a Tiger's Eye.
From Seed Savers Exchange and from Siskiyou Seeds.
I want to see Tiger's Eye.
We have red Hidatsa Indian beans. We have light red kidney beans. Another pack of the Hidatsas. And then we have green beans. And because I love green beans, I love green bean casserole. I love just fresh green beans out of the garden. We have more green beans. There's sugar baby watermelon. There's another melon.
Sugar baby watermelon.
And what's this guy? Congo watermelon.
I love watermelon.
And we have more corn. We have early Sunglow sweet corn and Bodacious sweet corn. Who knows how these varieties will do here, but it's an experiment. And then, ta-da, our final category, the tomato. So we have a lot of different varieties of tomato. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And we'll cover those in a tomato video. I love tomatoes, as I said, tomato paste, tomato sauce, tomato juice, all those things. Like, tomatoes are so versatile, and you can make so many different things with them.
Tomato sauce is my favorite.
So I've got paste tomatoes in here. It's funny because 2 of the companies that I ordered things from, I got free seed packs, and they were 2 different varieties of tomatoes from one from each of them. So I ended up with like 2 varieties that I never would have grown, but they're pretty cool looking, so I'm excited about those. So we'll talk about that in my peppers in a video because there's so many different varieties that I have. So this is pretty long, but I hope you have a method to our madness and know kind of where we're going. And like I said, we'll talk more later on about what we're going to do. We'll probably do an onion video in our planting to start that next, and then maybe we'll talk about our tomato varieties that we have. And then maybe the next one after that we'll be talking about narrowing our garden selection down. But anyway, thank you for joining us today. Please, if you like us, hit like and subscribe, watch our videos, comment.
Notifications so you never miss a video.
Yep, if you subscribe, you'll never miss a video because you'll see notifications.